welcome to the latest episode of the ReWine, where we rewind the latest in entertainment and pop culture news. Thank you for joining us. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
And Tammy. So, this week, there is a lot, as usual, to get to, so I'm not going to delay it. First of all, I want to send out a rest in peace to Naomi Judd of The Judge. Um, did you hear about her passing?
I did. I just read the headline this morning. I'll be honest, I
Yeah,
didn't read the story, but I did read the headline and I know who she is.
yeah. She died of an undisclosed illness or cause. So, just rest in peace to her. And um, thoughts. It sounds so hollow saying this now, but it's in all sincerity, thoughts, prayers, and condolences to her family, her friends, and her fans for the judge. Um, So, did you also hear, Tammy? I'm so sad. I don't know if I'm sad. I don't know how to feel about it, but Justin Lin just walked off as the director of the Fast and the Furious 10 with and they were already started production and filming. It was like about a couple of weeks into it, and they say something went down between him and Vin Diesel. Um, so the search for new directors costing them almost $1 million a day.
Wait. Like he walked off and ain't coming back?
Like chunk the dudes like deuce bitches.
Oh shit.
And it's not like it's like he's been a part of the franchise since five. And I know he did five, which most people think is really the reboot and the start of the
No,
series.
it's the Tokyo Drift run. Isn't that where he came in or no?
No, I don't know if he did Tokyo Drift. I know that he really got on board with five. He's done five of the movies. And then I know that he didn't do one of them, and there was word that he was done with the series. And I think back then there were rumors about him and Vin Diesel not necessarily seeing eye to eye, or Vin Diesel being too much of a diva. And so then they got him to come back, um, and he was supposed to do the last two movies, 10 and 11. He's still, from what I understand, staying on as producer. He wrote the script for 10, but then he said creative differences. And I'm like, dude, creative differences 2 weeks into filming. So, word on the street is that Diesel was being a diva. And so, yeah, they're looking for a new director as we speak. And the movie is set to premiere pretty much a year to the day, in May 2013. I mean, May 2023. So they haven't pushed back the release date yet. So we'll see how that goes, what goes, and who they can find to replace, and if they have to go back and redo the 2 weeks of filming that they've already done. But so far, they're keeping everybody under contract because they have like Helen Mirren, um, Jason Momoa, of course, the regular cast, but there's some other people who had joined too. So they're trying to keep them all under contract and get it done so they don't have to let them go. But, yeah, whatever went down, it had to be big for him to just chunk the juice and be like, I'm out. No explanation or nothing. Like, I'm done.
Well, rest in peace to that franchise.
It has two more to go.
I mean, it's over and done with. Like that is the whole, and maybe that's why he acts like a diva, because that is his whole entire career. Like Vin Diesel's whole entire career is this movie series.
Well, he sings too. Let me stop.
And why are you being petty? Why are you being petty, Eddie?
Yeah. Well, he has the triple X movies, but I know what you're saying. I'm being silly, but yeah. So, and maybe because he is a big wig in that series, but it's like, dude, outside of that series, I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that. Um, I, but I'm still a huge fan of the Fast and Furious franchise. I know you're not. It's just like it almost ranks up there with Jason Statham as my guilty pleasure. Statham is my dude. Like anything Jason Statham is in, I don't care. I know what it's going to be, but I love me some Jason Statham. And
Still gonna
so
be there for y'all.
I ride or die for Jason Statham. That's my man. That's like my guilty pleasure. I love his movies. That's just it. I know it's not Oscar or award winning stuff, but I love it. And the same thing with this. It's just mindless guilty pleasure. I know it gets more and more ridiculous with each movie, but I am looking forward to the end of it. And so I really do hope that they can go out the way they want to with 10 and 11. Um, so gosh, this next one. What do you think about Twitter selling out to Elon Musk?
Money makes the world go round.
God, I know. I hated it. I held out hope originally when they originally turned down his offer. I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
Then he offered
And
them more.
then I was like, fuck. And he, it's like, dude, he's buying it because of quote unquote free speech. But no, basically, you're tired of people bullying you or talking about you on Twitter.
So
And
he wants to
so
hold those people accountable, or he wants to punish those people, but he's still. It's just going to open up the doors to going back to when you could bully people on Twitter and you could say whatever you want. You could spread lies on Twitter and then just claim free speech, and that was it. So it's just the certain people not liking the fact that this is a private company and not the government, and so they have a right to actually force you to follow their rules, and that's ultimately what it is. That's why it's celebrated by right wing commentators and liars who are spreading so much misinformation and have gotten kicked off of Twitter, and they're like super excited about being back. And yeah, I mean, Twitter's gonna go down the toilet. Like somebody else needs to just invent something else.
yeah, because it, and I did like it. It seemed like, over the last few years they had learned from Facebook's missteps and misdeeds, and there was less bullying. There was still a lot, and I mean there was still still social media, and you're gonna find it, but it seemed like it was less and less. Like it had become less toxic, or maybe just because I curate what I follow so much that I really don't get into all of that. So I don't know, but um when it's just disappointing, and I can, once he fully gets control of it, I can just see it going to hell in a handbasket really really quickly. um he's already talking about trying to charge people for different levels and different access to different things, and I'm like, dude, really? So
If that
yeah.
is the case, Twitter is gonna go like Facebook is. I don't go on my account anymore. I don't post anymore on Facebook, and that's how. Granted, I don't really post that much on Twitter because I'm not a social media person. But hilarious being on a podcast. But I like I do like the people that I follow. I'm very very particular about the people that I follow, and it is one way to get like different opinions on certain events, major events, and things that are going on in the world. And that's just one more thing that is going to be taken away, where you can pick and choose. And no, I don't know. It's just I'm not excited about it.
I'm not either. Like this, you have this thin-skinned billionaire who treats people like shit. He is really a horrible, horrible person. Um, you know, from the way he treats his Tesla employees, all the lawsuits, the discrimination lawsuits that he's had filed against him at Tesla, um, just to everything. He's just a horrible, horrible human being. And one of those who thinks that money buys, and obviously, I guess in this case it does, but I really was holding out hope that they would not sell out to him. And I am really interested to see just how badly he fucks this up, because, people are saying that he has no idea what he's doing. Um, and I don't know. Like Twitter has a board now, but they're saying that he wants to take it totally private. So I don't know what he'll do. He's already had to dump like almost $10 billion in Tesla stock to get the money for this. So maybe, lo and behold, because when people hear richest man in the world and they hear like $250 billion, it's not like he has that just sitting in cash. That's what he's worth through the different investments in companies and all that kind of stuff. So him still raising $50 billion, which is about a quarter of his wealth or a fifth of his wealth, to buy a company just because you're tired of people calling you out for your bullshit on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. I think that's just ridiculous. So you want free speech for yourself and your cronies, but you don't want to give it to anybody else. And so instead of just being a better person, you just want to do some. You want to do this. You want to pull the ultimate flex or power move. It is ridiculous, but whatever. I I don't know. Anyway, speaking of that, we were just talking about this. I heard you said you went and watched the new Fantastic Beasts. Did you like it?
No. I told you, like, it was boring. I am a huge fan of Harry Potter, Ravenclaw all the way. And so of course I'm definitely going to watch all of the new movies that are attached to the Harry Potter world. But it was boring. Like, it wasn't exciting enough. There wasn't enough, like, I guess, action and intrigue. Like, it just didn't keep you engaged. Like, I was just watching it because, rather than like enjoying it. So yeah, I would say you can just wait until it comes on one of the premium channels on TV. You don't have to pay to go see it in theater. That's just my opinion. And then, like, my vain opinion of the person who replaced Johnny Depp, like, yeah, no, I wasn't about that life.
Well, Mads Mikkelsen made it was a big deal that he replaced Johnny Depp, and we know the reason that he replaced Johnny Depp was because of all the drama between him and his ex-wife Amber Heard, and their dueling defamation suit, not the one that he lost in Great Britain. I don't understand. I still never really understood the ins and outs of that suit. I think it had to do with the British tabloid running with his story, or running with her story and calling him an abuser. So I think that's what that case was about. But I know the one here is that they both filed defamation suits, counter defamation suits against each other. And um, she is taking a big L from what I've seen in this case. And I know you've always been anti Heard. Uh,
I just see
and
her as a liar.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like, you want to be pro woman sometimes because we don't get enough. It's hard. You want to be pro woman. You want to believe women because when we do tell the truth, and most of the times we are telling the truth, we do not get that support. We do not get anyone to believe us. But in this case, it is really, really hard. Hard to believe. It was just hard, and even so, some of the highlights in the case. Have you been keeping up with it?
No, not really. Just because it just seems like it just seems like they're doing a tit for tat. Like, neither one of them wants to, I guess, let go. So no, I haven't. I don't have the energy for it. My bad.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I haven't been keeping up with it like daily, but I've seen the highlights, and from what I've seen, um, it's not that he doesn't want to let go of her. I get the feeling that he really, really loved her. He walked away from a 20+ year relationship with Vanessa Purity's, the mother of his children, to be with her. I get that it was intense. I even will say that that it was toxic and dysfunctional. I can agree with that, and they probably did some emotionally and mentally abusive shit to each other.
Hmm.
But um the ACLU, the thing that got me is the thing that really got it started is when they were going through their divorce, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ACL, she wrote that story. She wrote that op-ed about abuse, and so um, she didn't, quote unquote, she didn't name names, but everyone knew who you were talking about because you had just ended your relationship. It was already in the news that your marriage to Johnny Depp was ending. So um basically the ACLU testified that this the timing of it was meant, the way they read the timing of her op-ed and the way she went about it, to carefully not name names and all of that kind of stuff to try to play that role. Um, they said it was done with to coincide with promoting her, promoting Aquaman, and all of that. So you just get a lot of that coming from people. Her former assistant dogged her out, just said she was a horrible employee, a horrible person. That she never saw him abuse her, that she was the abusive one. um it's just been like, wow. The funny part though was that the doorman where they used to live, a lot of people are still testifying via Zoom and stuff like that. COVID, just different reasons. Girl, they got him in the car vaping. Like
The
he
doorman?
actually, yes, he was he was actually vaping on camera while he was testifying.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious?
Yes, that shit was hilarious. And he basically, I don't know if it went in her favor or against her, but he basically called her a head case, and just it was just a lot. It's just been a lot. So most of the testimony that has come out has not been in her favor. Um, you know, so and speaking of which, going back to the former, right after she and Depp separated, she was dating Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
And when they broke up, she was trying to say that he was crazy and he was stalking her and that he tracked her car, that he had trackers in her car and he was really possessive. And I'm not saying that's not true because, like I said, Elon Musk ex-wife has some pretty intense things to say about him as well. So I don't know. I'm not saying that's neither here nor there, but so I guess he's supposed to testify on her behalf or something. James Franco is supposed to testify on her behalf, and I'm like, really? You want James Franco to come testify on your behalf? Okay.
James Franco,
Yeah.
the pedophile?
Wow. That's how we refer to him now. Yeah.
Okay. The actor, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. I have to clarify. I had to make sure I knew who you're talking about. My bad.
I don't know if it was pedophilia. I know it
It
was.
wasn't. It wasn't. I was
It,
just I didn't see it.
I was gonna
I was
say,
throwing shade. My bad.
yeah. It's like he had some sex assault charges, which I think he settled, and he had to do like go to sex camp. I forgot how he settled his shit, but yeah, him. So it's like you already have some of the not best character witnesses coming to testify for you. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just interesting to see. And the thing that he's fighting for, he wants his reputation and his career back. And I don't know. Regardless of the outcome, I don't know if it will ever. If Hollywood, I don't know. Hollywood's a fairly forgiving place. So regardless of the outcome, if he wins, do you think he would be able to get his reputation back?
Mel Gibson did.
I know.
Woody Allen has. And I'm not saying
Well,
reputation. I'm not saying that forgiving. But I will say that I will say that even if everybody has not been very forgiving, they still have a successful career.
yeah. Um. So yeah, like I said, it's a mixed bag. I think it was just. I do think she. I think they were toxic and abusive to each other. The physical abuse, I don't know. I'm I don't know if he ever hit her or not. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying he didn't. I think it was just toxic and dysfunctional all the way around. I think she's also tried to play that up into her advantage and play like she was the absolute victim in all of this. When the more and more that comes out, it seems like she was the instigator in all of this. Even her own people have been like, she doesn't know how to function without that level of drama. So it's just it's crazy. It's a lot. It is a lot to take in. So we'll see what happens in her case, in that case, and we'll see if he'll ever be able to reclaim um, his throne as one of Hollywood's most bankable leading men.
Yeah,
You know,
to go. I think that if he plays it smart, you do some indie films. You maybe do a limited series, a limited TV series on, a streaming service or like HBO Max or something like that, Apple Plus. Give it some time. So he needs to wait at least a year. It's kind of like the Will Smith method as well. Wait at least a year. Okay, take a chill. All right, go into the background, come back doing some indie stuff, some independent stuff, and then the momentum will still build because everybody will remember the success of Johnny Depp before all of this drama with Amber Heard happened. So I do think that he can build back his career if he is smart. But at the same time, he did also lose millions of dollars and didn't even know where it went. So I don't know how well he can follow this plan, but if he did, it has worked for so many other people. I truly believe it can work for Johnny Depp.
yeah, the millions of dollars is probably because he was too drunk or high to actually pay attention, and just
Exactly. You know,
um, so like I said, no one in this situation is completely blameless. We'll see how it works out. And I know you're a fan of having her removed from the Aquaman series.
which is not going to happen, and I'm just
Yeah.
going to have to accept that. At least Jason Momoa was there.
um, so yeah, we'll see. All of that is fit for late nights, and I'm sure they will have their things. One of your favorites. Do you watch late night TV?
I I watch clips. But I really like my one go-to person for late night TV, is if it's not like Trevor Noah or John Oliver. I like, oh my God, Myers. Oh my God, why did
Seth
I?
Meyers.
Yes, I was about to say, why did I just blank on his first name? I like Seth Meyers. I am a fan of his show. I like the closer look series that he has on his show. So he's the one person that I've stayed up with through this whole entire time, and I really became a fan of his during COVID and how he was still recording while in his house in his attic. It was hilarious. But yeah, but everybody else, I see clips, but I'm not like continuously watching them.
Yeah, I record some of the late night stuff, and but me, I'm with you. I'll mostly go back and clip it on YouTube and watch the monologues, or if there's a performance I want to see, or just someone in particular, like some particular interview or some particular guest. But I love Colbert. I really do love Colbert. He has some really smart commentary. And one of his producers is going to be the new head of CNN, after Zucker was, relieved during his scandal. So maybe we'll get that fair and balanced CNN back. We'll see what happens, how that's going to go. Was that a laugh? Were you snickering?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. My bad. I apologize.
You think I'm being too optimistic
Always,
that they can.
always.
Well, speaking of CNN, it's like, dude, what the fuck? Well, I guess it was because of the Warner Media takeover, right? But they invested all that money into CNN Plus just to shut it down after 2 weeks.
Because nobody fucking cares about it.
So I was like, damn, you paid all that money for all that talent, and then to try to save it. And here's the thing, it's like, okay, even when the merger was, they were talking about it, Warner Media knew, they even invested some of the money into CNN Plus. So I'm like, you shut it down after 2 weeks? Wow. So yeah, that's kind of sad. But anyway, the whole reason for that is, you heard, James Corden is ending his show after next year. So this is his final season. And so the summer of 2023, James Corden, I guess much to Army's delight, will be no more. I'm sure the Late Late Show will still go on. It's just he will no longer be the host.
You think they'll finally have a woman? Well,
It would
not for
be.
that show because they're going to replace him with a man. But usually it's the person who's the one. Is he the second or the first?
He's the second. There was another
Okay.
British guy. I forgot the British guy who was. who did the
I
late
remember who you're
night show
talking about.
before.
Yeah, I do remember who you're talking about. But because that I've always waited for that. Like, let's get
Yeah,
a woman, or let's get a person of color.
yes. Like we haven't had a person of color host a prime time late night show since the Arsenio Hall show. And that was and everyone hated the Arsenio Hall show because it was so cool and he got all the guests and and it was like black people had a place to go and talk about their stuff, even just besides the main five that they deem are cool at the time, so it was just like, yeah, so I would love for that, a woman, a person of color, or a woman who is a person of color, um
And I
I
don't
think,
necessarily need it to be a black woman or a black
yeah,
person. I just want
um
a person of color. Let me get a different perspective rather than all the white dudes that have completely taken over late night TV.
Yeah, it's like it needs to be diversified. We have Trevor Noah, but Trevor Noah is something different. The Trevor Noah show is a different breed. It's late night, but it's not your traditional late night, if that makes sense.
It does. It's like John Oliver. I mean, he wins all the awards now, but I wouldn't. I would also put him like in a subcategory, not necessarily competing with those late night, because
Yeah,
he's only on Sunday. It's a 30-minute show, and then he goes about his business for the rest of the week.
yeah, and he goes ham. Like I love John Oliver. He goes ham. So it's just like, yeah, but so we'll see if they can diversify it, and because it is the late night, like it's the second category, like a Seth Meyers show or whatever. Um, I think, and I forgive me, I have sick brain, so forgive me if the words don't come out correctly. But I think that would be the best place to quote unquote experiment with a different type of host, if that makes sense.
It does.
So I think that that would probably be the best place to get started with a different host to try to diversify the whole late night stint. And maybe ratings would go up if it was a little bit more diverse. Like I like Colbert and I like Myers. I even like Kimmel. Kimmel says some fucked up shit sometimes, but um, you know, I admit I do like Kimmel. His monologues are funny, but some of them, and then some of them just are like, wow, you really just said and did that, huh? Okay. um so we'll see what happens. And another show that is going to leave a big space, Ellen, she has taped her final show and her it should air within the next month, saying goodbye after nearly 20 years. And I know the last 2 years have kind of been scandal written, especially after the 2020, and then that whole big scandal about how she treated and her guests and her employees, and the whole scandal around that. And then but she'd been talking about leaving for a while, even before that, so we'll see what happens. But I also think that it would be a good place to have a woman or a person of color do, um, besides the Wendy Williams show, maybe take over as the queen of daytime. We haven't had that since Oprah, but we'll see who they get to
I
fill
like
her spot.
oh my god, what's her name? Begins with a T, I think.
Tamron Hall.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think she does a really, really good job. I'm gonna be honest. I don't care about Ellen's show. Um, she always just seemed, at first, like I fell for the act and everything, but then after a while, I started to really see it as an act. Like, it just always seemed so fake. She was always playing a role. It was
Yeah,
her
they
greatest role she'd ever played in her entire life, and she did an amazing job playing it. But it was never genuine. It was always a role.
yeah, they say she's really not, unless you are somebody. She's the Let me put it this way. They say she's the epitome of a snob. Not necessarily the mean girl, but unless you are somebody, unless you are on that A list, unless you are one of the cool kids, then she's not the nicest person to you, you know. Um, so you know, be it he, and that's just who she is. And I guess that facade after 20 years, or that facade, it got hard to keep it up. Um, and that is a long time to wear that mask. Now I applaud her for, because she did do some groundbreaking stuff. Her show at Ellen, her comeback was real. The struggle was real. I get all of that. And I'm not taking away from it at all, but maybe, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't really watch daytime too much either, obviously, because I have a look, I have a day job, which,
Yes.
but it's not, I don't tape it either. Like I do nighttime. I really don't go back and try to watch clips of daytime TV unless something big happens, and I'm like, oh, okay, let me see what they're talking about here or there. But most of the time, I know, was it the top where they replaced? They added two men, Jerry O'Connell, and another dude, a black dude. So I've been meaning, maybe this summer I'll get a chance to check it out, check out some reruns. They say it's actually good having the male perspective on that show too. So I'm like, oh, okay, The View is just straight drama. It's a hot mess shit show of drama, and I love it, but I don't watch it. Um, so yeah, but we'll see how the daytime wars play out, and who, if anybody, they get to come in and replace Ellen. I heard Kelly Clarkson's show is really good. People really, really like that. I like her karaoke. I like her karaoke.
Oh,
She has a
she is an amazing vocalist. Like,
yeah,
yeah, she does it. I still remember when she, oh my God, was it the Billboard Awards she hosted? And she did that medley as she walked throughout the audience. And like, she just did a phenomenal job. Like, she is, like, there's a reason why she's the most successful American Idol, and the only one besides probably Carrie Underwood, who will never reach her level, to have the amount of success that she has had. Like, just nobody tops that.
yeah. Um, so yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Gosh, I hate talking about this dude. So we're gonna keep it short. The baby is trash.
Why are we talking about the baby then? Can we just
Um,
skip that story and move on to the next one?
I wish, but it won't take
No,
long.
no, let's just skip it. Let's skip it. I really don't think we need to give him breath. I really don't think. We can move on to the next one. I don't think he deserves breath. I'm just
Yeah,
saying. I'm just saying.
I'm not in the headspace. Look, I'm not in the headspace to push it either. Sick and tired, and he makes that list. Um, so ah, okay, we'll talk about this one. Did you hear about Rihanna's baby daddy?
Yes.
Um,
Wait, when she do? Anybody know?
she's due soon, probably in the next month or two.
Okay.
Do you think that's gonna last?
Yeah.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
You think ASAP Rocky's forever?
In Rihanna's world, is forever ever really forever?
um, well, he was
I
arrested.
mean, they going for this 18 to life, so he'll
Well,
be in her world forever.
yeah, but I don't know, man. He
He's
was
a waiting in
arrested.
the wings. He loves that woman, so he'll do whatever he needs to do in order to keep her.
Well, him getting arrested for airport shootings and shit, they ain't gonna help his cause none. But
He
okay.
went back to Chris Brown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah. Sometimes the heart wants what it wants, and young love, and you young, dumb, and stupid, and that didn't last very long.
Do you think people question it because it's ASAP Rocky? Like, because I feel like everyone is always questioning, like, how long are they going to last? How long are they going to last? And it's kind of like, because Rihanna is like on this like such a high pedestal, and then you have like ASAP Rocky, and you're like, like you not on her level. Like you ain't lasting that long. You know, so everybody's like waiting for the moment that he gets kicked to the curb kind of thing. Like they just can't see how she would fall for him over everybody else that is available, I guess.
No, it wasn't that for me. It's the scandal. It's kind of like the Puffy way back when J Lo and Puffy were dating, right? And people kind of had the same image because he wasn't billionaire music mogul Puffy. He was still bad boy street rapper, two steps from being a thug Puffy. Obviously, if you're having shootouts in Brooklyn, right? Um, so I think that was the thing where it's how much scandal can you take? Everybody loves the bad boy, but it was one scandal too many, and she chunked the deuce. She was like, I love you, but nah, this ain't my life. I'm not about this. So I think that's it. And so I was like, okay, you love who you love, and let's face it, Rihanna's always kind of had off and on suspect tastes. Every girl loves the bad boy, but it was just the arrest. For the recent arrest in a shooting that went down in November. Um, so I think that I'm like, okay. So my question is, how many scandals are going to be too many? Like, what's her ride or die threshold, especially with a baby coming? So that was just my question: is like, is this going to be what breaks the camel's back? Does that make sense?
It does. But I think for a lot of people, when they talk about Rihanna, it is the mindset of they just do not think that ASAP Rocky is on her level. So they're like, okay, this is like a pause and he's not going to last that long. So, then there's a shock. She's having a baby with him. That's 18 to life. So, but even then, when you talk to people, they still have that mindset of he's still not on her level. It's never going to last. Like he ain't gonna be able to keep her no matter what he does. And I just think it's because people don't think he's on their level, on her level. I don't necessarily think it's the scandals. I mean, look at how many celebrities have scandals, and for some, they don't question their relationships with the people who keep bringing scandals into their lives. But they're doing it for him because they don't see him and Rihanna being. He don't deserve Rihanna. So how you get her? You definitely gonna keep her now that you got all these scandals. But like you said, the heart wants what the heart wants. Is she just gonna kind of let people get into her head, or is she gonna stand by her man, kind of thing?
Mm, mm. Yeah, you know me. I can. There's only so much drama I can deal with. I like I said, I'm not questioning their love or their commitment. Hell, I wasn't even surprised when they were together. I wasn't surprised when she got pregnant. Because like you said, there's always been that. Um, they've always kind of clicked, and I think they dated briefly once before in between the Drake years or whatever. So when they were finally got together, it didn't surprise me. And I know people don't like ASAP Rocky because of the shit he said about black people, about him not being really black, or just his different stupidity. Then they weren't riding for him when he got locked up in Sweden. They were like, leave his ass there, because of the shit that he said in the past. So it's just, yeah. I think part of the problem is not necessarily that it's ASAP Rocky and he's a rapper. I think it's just that he said some really problematic shit. Said and done some really problematic shit in the past. So we'll see. Speaking of 18 to life, um, did you hear about Jason's Olivia Wilde? Are you an Olivia Wilde fan?
I am not.
You're not. Ah. Well, did you hear about her being served papers in the middle of a
I did.
presentation?
I
what?
did.
I, I'm just going. What did you think about that? I'm interested to see what you think.
Uh,
Just the way,
can
just your
I say
response has
that
me.
although it is fucked up that that's how it happened, so creative on how they slipped it across the stage. And she was like, "Oh, what is this for me?" So she picks it up, and this is how professional Olivia is. She picks it up, she takes it out, She reads it thinking it's like a script or something they said. She reads it. She was like, okay, got it. Puts it back into the envelope and continues on like nothing has happened. And I'm like, yeah, like it was so messed up, but also very creative on how to get her served.
Yeah. Like sir, people server, you have to give it to the process server. It was fucked up. It was very fucked up. But their job is
Creative.
not their job is not to worry about that. Their job is to get the paper served, and so that's what they did. And the thing is, they were saying, "Oh, did Jason Sudeikis know? Yeah, he knew she was going to be served, but he didn't know the how and the when. That's not up to him." And so it was like, oh shit. But yeah, and I have to give it to her because I'm like, this motherfucker want to take my babies, you know. And it's not as bad as some of the others. I think they just have some custody issues that they're trying to work out. I have no idea, but still, to be served during the middle of one of your presentations, um, at a big deal like CinemaCon, I would have been like, oh yeah, that is very professional because I probably would have been like, what the fuck,
Oh yeah.
and stammer, and anyone else been like the fuck, and just kind of stammered the rest of the way through. But she went on to like they say, the show must go on. So we will see how that plays out. The custody with that. I Speaking of Olivia Wilde, I am very very interested to hear Harry Styles' new CD.
Oh yeah, they're dating, aren't they?
Yeah, and
I
have you
like the
heard his
single.
As It Was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like I like Harry Styles, and I tried so hard not to because, boy band, One Direction, they were huge, and but his style, like I like open and how open he is, like to trying different styles and different tastes and genres. Like, yeah, yeah,
I like
I'd have to say he went from being like my least favorite One Directioner to being probably my favorite. Like he's done a phenomenal job on reestablishing his career away from the boy band um image.
Yeah, I love the evolution of Harry Styles. Like I was never a One Direction fan. I really wasn't. I think I liked that one song that they had that everyone liked, and then I liked another song that wasn't as popular as a B side. I think that was probably the only two One Direction songs I had, and it tells you how much I liked them that I can't even remember names of them now. So I wasn't all crushed and heartbroken when they broke up or whatever. But as they have gone on, I think that they have all done a good job of finding their lane. They all seem to have their own niche in a solo career. Harry seems to be the most popular, I guess, but
He's
I
the most
think his
successful.
most successful. His evolution, I love the evolution. I listened to from his first CD to the one that he last released, Fine Line. Oh my gosh, Fine Line was phenomenal. It was great. I think maybe Watermelon Sugar, and it has some great songs. And I think it got pub, but it came out right before the pandemic, so he didn't really get to tour a lot with it or do a lot with it. But it it but it was still it was still very popular. But I love that CD. So I look forward to his evolution. Um, you know, Besides someone that Taylor Swift wrote a whole half an album about, or um, so I do look forward to seeing what his new CD will entail, and his style. So I have to say I am, and I watched his set at Coachella, and I actually liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So I can admit that I am probably a Harry Styles fan. So I will say that. All right. Is there anything else you want to discuss on this episode of the Rewind? I know we'll have to take some time and discuss all the K-pop comebacks. We'll have to maybe do that for the next one. Tease it.
Oh, I was just going to mention I was going to mention the ones that I'm excited about. It's
Okay.
not that many, but GOT7 hasn't announced their date yet, but they are going to have a comeback. They're currently trying to work out a schedule amongst the different activities that the members have in order to come together to at least perform their singles, their comeback single. I think that is what they're currently working on, is figuring out how they're going to practice as well as get the time to actually perform it on like music shows and everything like that for their comeback. So I'm really, really excited. I hope they're able to figure it out so that we don't get like a Big Bang thing where they release it, but we don't really get to see them perform.
That was anticlimactic to me. But anyway, go ahead.
Huh?
Big Bang was anticlimactic to me, but go
You were
ahead.
never a fan of Big Bang. They did it for the fans. Anyway, um, TXT is doing a comeback as well. Really
That
excited.
looks
They look like they're on
grown
their
and
grown man
sexy.
and grown man business.
Yes, I'm excited about that one. I'm excited about GOT7 too. So excited. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Icon is having their comeback on May 3rd, I believe it is. Really, really excited because they're also going to have their first concert in like 3 years. This is their first CD in 3 years because YG sucks at comebacks. But so I'm really, really excited because I'm a huge fan of theirs. I became a fan of theirs while we were quarantined. So I'm really excited for this new CD. I like the teaser that they've released. I think it sounds really good. Um, BTS, of course, is having their comeback. I think it's going to coincide with their anniversary in June
It is. Yeah.
of when they debuted. So that means June is out for everybody else. Although they're saying that after BTS, Blackpink is supposed to be having a comeback in June, late June, after BTS does theirs in early June. So, you know, that's out there. 17 is having their comeback as well at the
I
end of
like their
May.
single. I was it Tequila?
Wait, what?
They had a single called Tequila. It was released a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know about
I have to send it to you. I liked it. It was good.
that. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I have to look that up because I don't I didn't listen to that one. So I listen to everything 17 has, but so I'm definitely gonna have to listen out for that. And then one more thing is Zico is finally out of the military. I'm so excited, cannot wait for his comeback. Um, yeah, he's like one of my favorite solo artists. So I'm really, really excited to see what he does now that he's officially out of the military.
Well, that means Crush should be out, gosh, in the summer. Because Crush went in November of 2020.
And Zico went in August.
So Crush should be out in a couple more months. And I guess Dean will pop up. No one knows if Dean went to the military or not. Like, he's the king of stealth moves. It's like, where the fuck is Dean? But and people are always asking that. So we're assuming Dean has been in the military with Crush and Zico. Yeah. So we'll see. But I'm so excited. I did see that Zico was officially out, and I'm excited to get new music from him. Um, Really quick before we hang this up, did you watch that by Psy?
No. What did you think of it, Eddie?
That's what I thought of it. I laughed. It was. I was never a Psy fan. Like, I Gangnam Style drove me batshit crazy. Every time that song came on the radio, I turned the channel. Like, I hated it. I get, now that I'm more into K-pop, and and all of that, I understand how big of a deal that song was to them in Korea. And but here it was annoying. It was annoying. And so when I watched the video, I'm like, and I know Sugar from BTS produced it. And I was like, okay. And Sugar, he raps, he has a part in it, he also has a verse. Um, and the video itself is kind of like a Western play. It was funny. Like, my first, and then just seeing Psy up there trying to dance, and it was just like, it was funny to me. It was funny, and I don't know if it was meant to be funny. Like, I know based on the video, he wasn't trying to take himself too seriously. He kind of killed off the whole Gangnam Style side, and it's like, this is who I am now. But yeah, it it was, yeah. The song itself, I think without the video would be okay. So I'm just gonna have to listen to the song and not watch the video. Yeah.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
But no, I'm not jumping on the side bandwagon, or I'm not just desperate to go listen to the whole CD. But I'm glad he's making a comeback. Not hating on nobody, trying to out there hustling and living their dream, living their best life. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So all right. Well, but no, seriously, we will have to do, maybe, I guess, in the summer after the major comebacks, just one of our world famous K-pop episodes, talk about how we felt about the comebacks, um, our favorite ones. So I think we should put that on the calendar, at least write it down and see how that goes, because there's some good ones. There are some really, really good ones. So I think we need to give them their just due and dedicate an episode to our K-back comebacks, K-pop comebacks.
Yes, I'm down.
Okay. All right. Well, that does it for this episode of the ReWine. Thank you for joining us, and on be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify Podcasts. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing pop kernels of pop culture goodness at the Pop Culture Wind Down. That's it. That at the Pop Culture Wind Down. Sick brain at the popcornwinddown.com. That's it. That's the plug. Pop, 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 pop. And thank you, as always. Until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.